300-564-652. Adam, are you there?
Good morning, John. How are you today?
I'm okay, Adam. Thank you. What can I do for you?
John, I want to talk about what's happened overnight with this Andrew Giles mess and the rest of it.
Yep.
John, it's very clear what should happen. The Prime Minister should sack Andrew Giles this morning, should sack the Home Affairs Minister and the Head of Home Affairs. These people are putting our women at risk, our children at risk, by letting these monsters on the streets of Australia, by what they've done, sexual assault, they've been convicted so many times and the rest of it. And putting our men and women in blue at risk of have to deal with this every day of the week, John. And this Prime Minister says he's tough on domestic violence and stopping this. Well, he's not tough.
Yes, listen, Adam, would you speak right into the telephone? You're fading away there.
Hear me, John?
Yes, I can hear you, but just speak into the telephone because you're fading away.
Sorry, John. So very clearly, John, if your listeners didn't get what I said, I'll repeat it. This morning, the Prime Minister should sack the Home Affairs Minister, the Immigration Minister, the Head of Immigration and Home Affairs for what went on overnight with this blunder and these people being allowed to be on the streets, putting our women at risk, our children at risk, and committing many offensive behaviour and assaults, sexual assault and the rest of it. And this Andrew Giles is putting our women at risk. He's putting our police men and women at risk by having to clean up this mess because he's incompetent. And this Prime Minister should sack him this morning, or the Prime Minister should go as well. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve to be protected, and we've got a very bad situation in this country where women are getting killed every day, kids are getting sexual assault, and these people are getting second chances to stay in our good country and ruin our country, John. You know, you've been around a long time. You've seen this. And this is, since Labor's been in power, this has got worse. And nobody takes responsibility. The Greens don't take no responsibility of this. Nobody does. The only person that's coming out and talking about this is Pauline Hanson and Peter Dutton.
Okay. So hang on a minute. You say that nobody is taking responsibility. It's easy enough to say that, but tell me who should be taking responsibility in your mind.
Okay, so the Prime Minister should be he's the head of this country, he should be taking responsibility. He comes out and says he wants to stop domestic violence, but his minister allowing these people to stay in our country who are committing domestic violence, are killing people, who are sexually assaulting our children, and he's letting them stay here, and he's rewarding this immigration minister to stay in power and be still working as the immigration minister. He is a shocker, and he should go this morning. The Prime Minister doesn't care about Australians. If he cared,
I think that's a bit unfair. I think that's
it's not, John. Very clearly, it's not, because it's very clearly women are getting hurt every day. They're getting killed every day, and the men and women in blue have to try and protect them. And how can they protect them if this Prime Minister allows this immigration minister to let these people stay on our soil? Because he can't do it properly.
Well, it's not so much a matter of them staying on our soil. It's a matter of them being admitted in the first place. But many of them are homegrown. So what do you do about them?
Well, what we do about them is very clearly we don't give them bail until they can prove that they have electronic monitoring device. They've got to go into a program. If they keep offending, they get locked up. That's as simple as it is. People got to realise that sexually assaulting women, hurting women like this is unheard of. Because you know why, John? There's no discipline. There's no discipline in the schools, so boys think they can hit women and the rest of it and get away with it. This is where it all started. We need discipline back in the schools.
Well, hang on a minute. Whoa, hold on, Adam. Hang on, settle down. Before they get to school, they need discipline at home.
That's right, because they're not allowed to smack the kids, because we've made laws that we can't smack kids. Because kids get stressed out if they get smacked. It didn't hurt you, John. It didn't hurt me getting a smack when we were young. But now we've just let this country fall apart. And the Prime Minister needs to take full responsibility and say enough's enough. And discipline needs to be brought back into schools, families, and people need to take responsibility for what they're doing to women.
Yeah, look, you're going a bit far here, Adam. You're getting a bit wound up. The country certainly is not falling apart, so don't be saying that.
Apart, John. How is it not falling apart? We've got all these people sexually assaulting kids are allowed to stay in this country.
Well, I mean, it's sadly, yeah, Adam, hang on. Well, Adam, hang on a minute. You know, the country is not falling apart. It's the same in every country in the world. We all have the same problems, but at a different level. So, you know, I think it's unfair. You're running your own country down. I don't like that.
Well, John, that's your view, that's my view, but the thing is, you have a look at what's going on.
Well, I do. I regularly look at what's going on.
John, we look at all these detainees out in the street who have sexually assaulted children, sexually assaulted women, and they're allowed to stay in this country. They should be gone, because Giles can't do anything.
Yes, but you see, but the problem is, Adam, you say they're allowed to stay in this country. You can't throw somebody out of their own country. And a lot of these people are homebred, so what do you do?
I'm talking about the detainees. The homebred, I've told you what we need to do. They need to be locked up until they go to the program and stop what they're doing, John, and give the police more powers. Put everybody who gets domestic violence charges on electronic monitoring.
Yeah.
Until they learn to behave themselves.
Yeah, well, if they're not Australian, then they should be sent home.
100%. Deport them straight away. And Andrew Giles won't, because it's not in his DNA to deport anybody. And that's the truth. And we're all talking about this morning, John, and it's about time the Prime Minister starts listening to the community. There's an election coming around the corner next year. People have had enough. If the Prime Minister doesn't deal with this, he should go.
I think that's very unlikely. But I understand what you're saying, and don't hang on a minute, Adam.
Sorry.
I do understand what you're saying, and I think that it's very important that we are aware of the problems that exist with domestic violence in Australia. I remember talking to Andrew Scipione, who I think was a great Commissioner of Police in New South Wales.
Ever had the best
I beg your pardon?
He was the best commissioner New South Wales ever had.
You're quite right. Andrew Scipione was the best commissioner that New South Wales ever had. But I remember talking to him a long, long time ago, and I said to him, what is the biggest problem in the state of New South Wales when it comes to crime? And without even hesitating, he said domestic violence. It's the biggest problem we've got. Domestic violence. Mostly men beating up on women. You accept that?
Sorry, John.
You accept that?
I do, John. Very clearly I do, John. And the thing is, John, when domestic violence happens in the home, the young children see it, and then they think it's all right to do it when they get older. We've really got to get tough, and we've got to start educating in the schools as well, as this is not acceptable.
That's true. But let's just go back a step or two. We're not necessarily talking about domestic violence here. We're talking about detainees being released and committing violent crimes against their partner or against anybody for that matter. But that's what we're talking about, and it shouldn't happen. These people should not be allowed back on the street.
That's right, but Andrew Giles does not do his job properly, and he's putting the community at risk, and this is why the Parliament should give the Governor-General more powers to stop this from going on. He should be given special powers, the Governor-General, to stop these politicians letting this go on. Because Albanese came to government saying he's going to fix everything, and he's not fixed anything, he's made it worse. Andrew Giles should be gone this morning, and you agree with that, John?
I do agree with that.
Should be gone this morning. The head of Home Affairs should be gone this morning. But the Prime Minister doesn't have it in his DNA to protect anybody.
He doesn't, what did you say?
He doesn't have it in his DNA to protect the community. Because if he did have it in his DNA, he would deal with this with Andrew Giles already this morning. He'd be out talking to the media saying, right, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to do this, this and this, but he hasn't. Because he runs a protection racket with his ministers and puts the community at risk, John.
Yes,
he doesn't put the community at risk, because he does.
Yes, look, don't use expressions like protection racket. You're sounding like Al Capone, for God's sake. You know, it's not quite that.
But, John, it's true, because you think of all these women have been killed, all these women have been sexually assaulted, all these kids that have been sexually assaulted by these detainees. And look at the grandma in Western Australia got bashed up.
That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
And this is because this immigration minister can't do his job properly, John. And this poor lady nearly lost her life because of these detainees. There's a blunder again from the Home Affairs, immigration, and the head of Home Affairs because she can't communicate properly. She's on $900,000 a year, and she can't even do her job properly, and she's putting the community at risk, John.
Yeah, look, enough's enough. You're getting too wound up here, and we want to remain within the bounds of accuracy if we possibly can. But I appreciate your call, Adam. If you want to call again when you settle down a little, that's okay.